Hello everyone, and welcome to the official updated ReviOS installation and setup guide for Windows 10 and Windows 11. If you've ever thought that your Windows was laggy or had stability problems in games, or if you're just worried about your privacy while using Windows, then ReviOS is made for you. Our modified Windows ISOs aim for better stability and performance and better privacy, all without sacrificing compatibility, which makes it a perfect daily driver. If you prefer a written version of this guide, you will find one on the revision website. To access it, type in revi.cc, link will be in the description, on your browser, and then you can just click right here on Docs, and you will find all the information that you need. In case you have any questions on something throughout the video or any questions on the written guide, I highly recommend that you go check out the frequently asked questions right here. And if you do not find an answer to any of your questions right here, just click on the join Discord link and you will be taken to a link to simply join the Discord server where you can ask for help in the reserved channels for that. Before starting, you need to know that we will be completely reinstalling Windows from scratch. You need to back up all of your important data, if you have any, as we'll be resetting it. So you can either back your data up on something like Google Drive, an external HDD or a USB stick, but I personally recommend that you create a new partition and store all of your important information on it. To do so, I would highly recommend that you install a software called MacroRed Partition Expert, so the link to it will be in the description. So while the tooling is not officially supported by Windows, it bypasses a lot of bugs that you would encounter if you use the Windows Disk Manager. So just go on the website, click on Free Download, and then right here in the download page, select Portable Edition, so you don't need the actual installer. And once it is done, so you can just unzip it wherever you want. So I will put it on my desktop, for example. And then just open up the folder, click on x64, and then open up the exe. Right, when you open the software, you have many choices. I recommend that you choose the drive that you want, whatever drive you want to remove storage from. So just right click on it, click on resize, and then right here in unallocated space after, select whatever you want the size of your backup partition that you want. So if you have a lot of stuff to back up, for example, you can have 10 gigabytes, 20 gigabytes of files to back up, put in whatever you want. So I'm just going to have a 5 gigabyte partition, which is around 5000 megabytes. You will then have an allocated space, right click on it, and then create volume. Volume label you can put in backup so that you know what it is. I highly recommend that you actually name it properly. Click on OK, and then you just click on commit right here. You will have a couple of prompts, click on OK and yes, and afterwards your PC will restart into an interface that is very rudimental. You don't actually need to do anything, so you just need to wait for the software to do its thing. It should be relatively quick. Of course, it depends on your computer, and when it's done, it will automatically reboot your system into Windows. As you can see, once you reboot into Windows, if you open up your file explorer, you will have a new partition called backup, if you named it that, and you can put any files that you want in it that you want to keep after reinstalling Windows. So just a quick tip, open up your file explorer and then right click on your local disk C and go into its properties and call it something like Windows Old. This is so that you can easily recognize it in your Windows installer and so that you don't accidentally delete something you don't want to delete. Same thing for any extra drives that you have. For example, if you have an HDD like me, right click on it, go into properties and call it something like HDD or whatever you want, just so that you can recognize it once again and don't accidentally delete it. Now to actually download and install the ISO, go on the Revi website, so revi.cc, of course the link will be in the description, head on ReviOS, downloads, and right here you can choose between Windows 10 and Windows 11. There are some minor differences between the two versions, so at the end of the day it's personal preference for which one you pick. However, you should know that, as you can see on this graph, there is, on average, a lower latency on Windows, but for newer hardware and newer games, Windows 11 has features that improve performance, such as direct storage, bypass I/O, thread directory, etc. And more importantly, if you want to play Valorant or Face It or other titles with anti-cheats, you need to have TPM 2.0 and Secure Boot enabled if you want to use Windows 11 specifically. To check if you have TPM 2.0, so you just need to press the Windows plus R key, and then you type in tpm.msc. As you can see, for example, I have specification version 2.0, and if you have 2.0, you can of course use Windows 11 with no problems. But if it's anything else, you will need to use Windows 10. If it's disabled, I will leave a video in the description to actually enable it. And then you can just select whatever ISO you want. I'm using Windows 11. Click on the provider that you want to use. Right here in the download page, you might have a bunch of ads. What I recommend that you do is that you actually install uBlock Origin. In case you already have AdBlock, it might not block everything since it's quite bad. So I highly recommend that you use uBlock Origin specifically. Just type in uBlock Origin in your browser and you will have an option to actually install it. So whatever you're using, be it Firefox, Chrome, etc. Once you've added the extension, and just check of course that it's properly enabled. You can then just go back into the website and refresh the page or just open it up once again, and as you can see you will have no more ads, so you can just click I'm not a robot, solve the captcha real quick, click on verify and click here to continue. You will then just have to wait. Do not click on direct download link, it's not a real download link, so just wait for the time that it says to wait, and once it's done you can just click on the download or the get link button. It will open up this kind of fake page sometimes, so it's just a pop-up. Do not actually trust this website, it's not the real one. So if you're using, for example, Mediafire like me, this is the real Mediafire website, or if you're using Mega, it's not this weird website right here. So just download the ISO and wait for it to be done. While you wait, you can install the ReviOS verifier. I will leave the link in the description. This is a tool created by Station that will allow us to actually verify if our Windows ISO is not corrupted once it is downloaded. It's very important as you may have problems in case it really is corrupted. So you will have just a single exe in a zip file. You can unzip it wherever you want, but I would recommend that you actually unzip it directly in the same folder as your ISO, so that it's much simpler to check. So to do that, you can just wait for your ISO to download, and then you can just click the little button that is says show in folder for the ISO, and then you can unzip the ReviOS verifier in the same folder as your ISO. It's very simple. And once you do that, all you have to do to actually check the ISO is select it and then drag and drop it on top of the exe, and then once you do that, it will open up the software, and you just need to wait for a bit, and it will then give you results. So in case your ISO is not corrupted and it's fine, you will see right here that it matches with the official ReviOS ISO. If it says anything else and it's not matching, you need to delete it and re-download the ReviOS ISO as it is corrupted, and you will have problems later on. I also recommend that you download your internet drivers before installing Windows, just in case you find yourself, for example, after installing without any internet, so it'll just be very hard to install your internet drivers. So just do that beforehand, it's a good precaution. To do that, just press Windows and R key, type in msinfo32.exe, you will then get this window. If you are on a desktop PC, you can select baseboard product, not manufacturer, baseboard product, copy that and type it into Google, and then add drivers at the end, and you will get a website with all of your drivers. And if you are on a laptop, select system model instead, so copy that and then type in drivers in your browser afterwards, and you will get a link to download your drivers for your laptop or desktop PC. So we will be using a USB stick to install ReviOS. To do that, you just have to stick in your USB stick. Should be over 4 GB if possible. Just make sure that you back up all of your files since we'll be formatting it. And to actually format it, just right click on it right here in File Explorer, click on Format, and then keep the default settings, doesn't really matter, and then just click Start, OK, and then just wait for it to be done. Then, once it's done, you will need 7-zip or WinRAR for this, so just go ahead and install whichever. I recommend that you use 7-zip, since in my opinion it's just better. It's also very lightweight and easy to install. So just, if you install it, click on yes, click on install, and then close the installer, and you should be done. So what we'll do now is that we will go on the ReviOS ISO that you downloaded, right click it, 7-zip, open archive right here, and then simply we will just be drag and dropping all of the files in the ISO into the USB directly. No need for anything else. So just drag and drop it and wait for it to be done. Once it is actually done, you can just close out everything, and to boot into the USB we will be using a software called EasyBCD. Of course, I will leave the link in the description so that you can download and install it easily. So just click on download now right here, and then just wait for it to download. Open up the installer and just press yes, of course. Click next right here, click I agree, next, and then install, and wait for it to be done. Keep the run EasyBCD option checked, click on finish, and then just make sure to actually close out all of your tabs, because I don't know why, but EasyBCD is behind all of your tabs. Click on go right here, click on OK on the first warning, click on OK once again on the second warning, and then you can just right here on the software click on add new entry, and then in the bottom right here select WinPE, click on type and select WinImage. Then the name, you can use whatever you want. I recommend that you name it something like ReviOS USB, so I just named it ReviOS. And then in the path, click on the little icon right there, and then go into USB stick, so wherever it is, go into sources and select boot.wim. Open it, and then just press the little green plus right next to it, right here. And once you click it, it will say right here added to the boot menu successfully. And then you just have to search for msconfig. You can do that with your Windows search menu, press Windows plus R, and then go into boot right here, and right here you will find two options. So the first one will be your current OS. So as you can see, I'm already using ReviOS, but it doesn't matter. So if you named it ReviOS USB, it'll be called ReviOS USB, and just click on set as default, and then you just click apply, and then OK. You can restart directly if you want to directly install Windows, or exit without restart if you still want to do some stuff before installing Windows. For anyone wondering why I didn't use the edit boot menu option in EasyBCD, I actually already had problems with it corrupting a bootloader, so I just don't want to take the risk, and I prefer using msconfig directly to actually set it up. In case you don't have a USB stick, you can install ReviOS on a partition without a USB. So to do that, we will need Macroid Partition Expert that we downloaded earlier. So just the link will be in the description in case you didn't already use it for a backup partition. Open it up, and then in whatever drive that you want to take space from, right click on it. So for me it's my C drive, for example, and then click on resize/move volume. In unallocated space, I recommend that you select something like 6 gigabytes, 7, 6, it doesn't really matter, but I'm just putting in 6,000, so it's 6 gigabytes. Click on OK, and then right here in unallocated, right click on that, create volume, and then call it something like ReviOS Installer, something that you will recognize so that you don't actually delete it later. And select whatever letter, click on OK, and then you can just click commit, OK, and just press this out here, which will restart your PC, of course. And right then you will boot into the Macroid tool, which should do its thing on its own. You don't need to click anything or select anything, so just wait for it to be done, and it will automatically restart your PC with all of the changes applied. So once you boot back into Windows, if you open your File Explorer, as you can see, you will have a new partition called ReviOS Installer, if you named it that. What we'll do now is very simple. So we'll just go and find our ReviOS ISO, and then we are going to right click it and select 7-zip and open archive. So if you didn't already install 7-zip, I recommend that you do that. And then you just drag and drop all of the files once again into the partition. Just almost the same process as for USB stick. You will then, of course, once you're done, use once again EasyBCD to make it bootable. So just link will be in the description in case you didn't already install it. So just open it up and click on yes. Then just once again close out all your tabs because it's going to be behind all of them for some reason. Click on OK on the warning, then click on add new entry, and then in WinPE select WinImage, and then just name it whatever you want. So I'm going to name it ReviOS Installer Partition just so that I know what it actually is. And then in path click the little icon right here, and then just look for your partition in your PC and open it up, go into sources, go in and select boot.wim, and then click on open. Then just click on the little plus arrow right there, and it will say that it was added to the boot menu successfully. To then be able to boot into it, just press Windows plus R, type in msconfig, go into boot, and you will have multiple options once again. I still have my USB plugged in, which is why this thing is still here, but just don't mind it. So you will have the same name that you just put in, so install partition for example, and click on set as default, then apply and OK. And at that point, well, you're done. You can then restart your PC to actually install Windows. So once you restart your PC, you'll probably boot into this screen, which is the Windows Boot Manager. As you can see, I have two options. The first one will be your current OS that you are using, so for example I'm already using ReviOS, and the second one will be either the USB or partition you choose to boot from. I'm using a partition in my case. You can just navigate there with your arrow keys and press enter. Just disclaimer, the install process is the exact same if you use a partition or a USB stick. It really doesn't matter. So once you get into the setup right here, click on I accept the Microsoft agreement, click on next, and then you'll have a list of all of your drives. So make sure not to delete the ReviOS installer partition, the backup partition, the HDD partition. So those are the ones that we named earlier. You need all of them and you don't want to delete them, of course. However, make sure to delete every single other partition, especially the Windows old one. So all of the couple hundred megabyte partition, etc., just delete them. So click on them, click on delete, and click on OK. And once you've deleted all of your partitions, so in my case I only had to delete 4, you'll have this unallocated space right here. Make sure to, of course, not delete the other ones. Click on the unallocated space, click on next, and then the Windows install process will start. It should be more or less fast depending on your PC, and once it's done you will get this screen. You can either wait for it or click on restart now, doesn't matter. Just if you're using a USB stick, make sure to unplug it before it restarts, just so that you don't boot again into the installer, and then just wait for it. It's going to say getting ready, etc., and then it will boot into the actual Windows setup. Just in case, Windows 10 and Windows 11 have the same steps. It's just that for Windows 11, the UI is different, but it's the exact same steps. So just select your country or region right here, so wherever you live, and then you just select yes. Then you will be asked if you want to actually use another keyboard layout than the American one, so just select whichever one you want to use. Press yes once again. In case you want another keyboard layout, of course you can add another one, just click skip otherwise if you're only using one. It will check for some stuff, etc. Just let it do its thing. It might take a while. You will then just put in whatever username you want, so it doesn't really matter, whatever you want. Click on next. For the password, if you don't want a password, you can leave it empty and click on next. If you want to use one, just type it in there and click next. It's the exact same. And then your Windows will restart. So at this point it will boot into Windows, but do not touch anything, because as you can see, after just a few seconds you will get this screen right here. It's just ReviOS preparing some stuff after the first reboot. So now just wait for it to do its thing, do not touch anything once again. Once it's done, it's going to restart your PC automatically, and then only after it restarts you can use your PC properly. As you can see, if you go into your file explorer, your backup partition will be there. If you didn't delete your ReviOS install partition, it will be there. If you didn't delete your HDD or whatever, it will be there. So only your C partition, which had Windows, should be deleted if you followed the steps properly. So first things first, you should check if your Windows is activated. So just open up settings, type in activation, and go into activation settings. If it says that it's activated, then you're good to go. If it doesn't, you need to buy a Windows key on the internet. You can find them for very cheap. Get a Windows Pro key, not anything else, not home, just Windows Pro, so be it Windows 10 or Windows 11 Pro. Then open up time and language. So if you are on another time zone and if your time isn't right, just go there and select whatever time zone is right for you. You can also go back if you want to change your language and click right here on languages and region. Select if you want to add another language, you can just click right here and search for it in the list and just use that. Or if you want to change the keyboard layout right here. Also, if you want to change display language, otherwise you just keep it as default. What we'll then be doing is actually installing your drivers. So if you have anything like Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, etc. on your PC, you probably will need drivers for that. I just recommend that you don't actually install drivers for anything that's working. So for example, if you have Bluetooth and it's working, you don't really need to install drivers. So you can just not install them. But if it doesn't work, then yes, you have to install drivers. To do so, press Windows plus R, typing msinfo32.exe, and then right here in your summary, if you have a laptop, select system model and copy that into Google and type in drivers afterwards and just search for whatever your manufacturer website is. It will probably have all of your drivers right there and install whichever drivers you need. If you have a desktop PC, select baseboard product instead and copy that and type in drivers right afterwards, and you will then get the website to install your drivers. Let's say for example that I have a Z490 motherboard from ASUS, so I'll just type in ASUS Z490 drivers. I'll select the official ASUS link. Then right here, I don't know, on the ASUS website for example, it says to select an OS, so just select whichever one. I'm on Windows 11, and then you have all of your drivers. Let's say that my Bluetooth or wireless is not working, I'll just install whichever driver I need from here. Just do not install any video or VGA drivers. You don't need to install them from here. If you actually have NVIDIA graphics card, for example, instead you will directly go into the NVIDIA website, so the link will be in the description of course, and we download your drivers from there. So just open it up and then right here keep GeForce, so don't go into RTX or whatever, those are studio cards, you do not have those. Click on GeForce and select whatever model you have. And then just click on operating system, select whichever one you are using. Game ready drivers, if you want to change the language of course you can, and then just press search, and then it'll give you right here a download, so just click on it and it'll take you to this page. If you click on download once again, it'll actually download the drivers for you. Just install them, very easy process. If you have an AMD graphics card, same thing, I will leave the link in the description so that you can go ahead and install your drivers. Just select right here in the page graphics, and then just select whichever model you actually have. Then when you do that, just click on submit, and then it'll take you to a link with a bunch of Windows versions. Select the right one and then click on download on the first one, not the Pro Edition or whatever, and install it once again. It's very easy. In case you have an iGPU, so you're on a laptop, you need to install your iGPU drivers. So to do that, just type in your CPU model and then follow up with graphics driver at the end. So for example, let's say you have an Intel i5-9300H CPU on your laptop, type that in, and then right here you will have processor graphics download, and just download those. In case you have an AMD CPU, so let's say I have a 5800H Ryzen CPU, type in graphics driver afterwards, just search it up. Do not click on sponsored links, click on the official ones, select whatever version of Windows you have, and then download and install it. If you do not do that, you will not be able to change your refresh rate or your brightness. And you're done. At this point, well, congratulations, you have just finished installing ReviOS properly. You just need to reboot your PC and all is good. You can install your games, your software, whatever you want, grab your files from your backup, do whatever you want, you're all good to go. Of course, this is just a very basic setup, so in case you want more in-depth tweaks, etc., I may or may not be releasing another video about a topic later. But yeah, at this point, just go ahead and use your Windows like normal, and you're good to go. So in every ReviOS install, you will have this thing called the revision tool that will be either on your desktop or you can just search in the search bar. It's a very useful tool that we provide you to you, and just has a bunch of tweaks that you can enable and disable in case you want to fine-tune your Windows more. You have a bunch of options, of course, so Windows Defender if you want to enable or disable it, UAC, which is the little prompt that says yes or no every time you run something. You have Windows notifications, etc., all of that kind of stuff that you can enable or disable at will whenever you want. And yeah, that's basically a very useful tool. So if you want to enable or disable something, just go ahead and use that. And that's about it. I hope that you enjoyed the video, that you learned a thing or two, and that it was useful for you. If you have any questions, once again, do not hesitate to ask us on Discord, and also check out the frequently asked questions on our website. And that's about it. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.